This is NHTV2, North Haven Government Television, a service of North Haven Community Television. The following program is brought to you through the support of the Town of North Haven.
Good evening and welcome to the special meeting of the North Haven Board of Police Commissioners. The meeting of November 26, 2024. The regular scheduled meeting of November 19th was postponed for lack of quorum. My name is Larry Lazaroff. I am the chairman. To my left is Bob Hannon, vice chairman. To his left is Commissioner Paul Wyman. To my right is Secretary Mark Calafiore. And to his right is Commissioner Alden Mead. With that being said, I'd like to ask for the approval of the minutes of the October 21st, 2024 special meeting, both regular and executive session, please.
So moved.
Second? Second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Do we have any correspondences?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have one piece of correspondence, and it's actually from you. So this is from Arnold's Jewelers. This is from our chairman, and he's addressing Chief Glenn and the deputy here, and he just wants to thank them. And he says, in part, I wanted to take this opportunity to thank the North Haven Police Department for their professionalism and empathy during a recent attempted break-in at his business located on Washington Avenue. In particular, he wants to thank the responding officers. So Officer Soda, Officer Janowski, Detective Harden, Detective Lukaitis, Sergeant Santagata, and Sergeant Costanza. We are fortunate to have such caring and professional officers in this town. My thanks to them and to all the officers that serve and protect. Larry Lazaroff, owner of Arnold's Jewelers. And I second that. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. For Chairman's report, I will be brief as usual. I have been receiving a lot of residents coming in on my business and as well as out in the public about talking about the enforcement of traffic and the other additional cars they see. And I explained to them about the regional task force that we're involved in, and it's obviously been very effective because our motor vehicle stops are up. And I can tell you, Deputy, that the public is very, very pleased that we are participating and it's being very, very effective. So kudos to you guys. Thank you for that. As a reminder, I always ask you to please watch out for walkers and children. It's getting dark earlier and it's dark early in the morning, so be alert, please. And with shopping season approaching us, please be alert where you park your car and just be careful with your packages and don't have them exposed, obviously. We just have to be a little bit safe. With that, I'd also like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, but I'll do that again at the close of the meeting. That's it for my chairman's report. I'll turn it over to the deputy as the chief is not present this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to start out by wishing the board, as well as the viewing public, happy Thanksgiving. And just remind everybody that this is a heavily traveled holiday, so please practice safe driving, and if you're going to be drinking alcohol, please be responsible and do not drink and drive. I'll start out with our overall budget report. So far, at the end of October, we're 31.8% expended on our budget, so we're under our self-imposed tracking limits. We feel confident going into November that we'll remain under our overall budget. We are trending a little bit high on our overtime. Absent our personnel line, our overtime line is always our largest line. And what's driving that is 2 vacancies that we have in our dispatch center. We recently have hired a dispatcher, although it's going to take anywhere from, I would say, 8 to 12 weeks to get them fully on board, so they can't fill vacancies immediately for us. Once they are on their own, we hope to see a reduction in that overtime line. Are there any questions about the budget overall? No.
You do a fine job.
Chief and I are also continuing to draft next year's budget at our next meeting or an executive session. If you have any questions, we can discuss that as well. But that's pretty much where we stand for the budget. For our traffic report, the regional team is continuing their work. It's well received. They're out there working on speeding issues, reckless driving, cell phone violations, and whatnot. And the overall goal, as we've mentioned, is kind of a visible presence and educating drivers on safe driving. It's not all about just issuing tickets. Our traffic division also assisted this last month with the Rotary Club 5K. And they also conducted 28 radar details, investigated 21 accidents, and conducted 154 motor vehicle stops. We also have 2 cruisers that they're outfitting for us that we hope to get into our fleet by the end of December. Also, as far as traffic goes, you all should have a packet for an intersection of Mill Road and Patton Road. There was a resident who had some concerns about speeding, hidden driveways, and sightline issues there. Those concerns originally were brought to the town engineer because they were asking to change like physical landscape, which that's not something that the town is going to be doing. It then came to Sergeant DePascale to look at some solutions to try and slow people down and make them more aware. Sergeant DePascale has recommended some signage. You'll see in your packets it's like a left turn and a right turn, as well as posted speed markers of 25 rather than what's there now, which is 30. I also have, if anybody wants it in executive session, some speed data from when he did these surveys. He does a great job, and talking with the chief, he agrees with the recommendations of Sergeant DePascale. If the board wants to agree with that, then I would just ask that we make a motion to accept Sergeant DePascale's recommendation.
Yeah, I think we could, sounds reasonable to me.
It's all signage,
Yeah.
And then reducing that speed limit to 25 instead of 30.
I mean, Sergeant DePascale does an amazing job.
Yes.
It's very, very thorough. I don't think we've ever actually had a controversy at all with any of his decisions. This is a very tricky area of road.
Yes.
I've been down there many times myself, and you live in that area as well, on Patton Road. So anything that would assist in the safety, absolutely, is we're going to encourage. And I would make a motion that we would accept these recommendations. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
For our training and professional standards department, you can refer to your packets. We tend to go heavy on training, so I won't get into everything, but a few items to highlight. We recently have conducted our firearms training. We also hosted regional recertification for area police departments. And for November, we're going to be scheduling our department for refreshers on handcuffing, baton, pepper spray, and use of force. Also, Officer Matt Ferrucci and his K-9 Dietz are wrapping up their K-9 school with the Connecticut State Police, and he's expected to graduate on December 19th. Also, our newest sergeant, Brianna Sargent, has attended a detective school that was hosted at Rocky Hill by the Chief State's Attorney's Office. For our Uniform Services Division, as you'll see on the graphs, they've been busy, especially in the area of motor vehicle activity. For overall calls for service, October 24 compared to October 23, we were 44 overall calls less. But if you look at 2022 to 23, there's a 600 call increase. So that increase is kind of remaining. It didn't jump just for that 1 year and go back down. So they have been busy. Calls for service year to date, we're at 24,640 compared to 22,461 from last year. And our written reports year to date, we're at 2,527 compared to 2,507 for 2023. Our motor vehicle stops for the month of October were at 400 compared to 231 in October of 23. And year to date, we're at 3,070 car stops compared to 1,712 from 2023. So they've been very active as far as motor vehicle stops go.
That's partly also due to the regional task force.
Correct. Yeah, the task force is helping, and we're also trying to utilize grant funding when we can to have increased patrols out there.
I was just gonna say, that's all grant money for the regional task.
Some
Yeah.
money is used. It's not all funded by grants, but yes, we are using some of that for the regional task force. For the month of October, our total arrests were 45 compared to 42 in 2023. Our vehicle thefts, year to date, we have 59 stolen vehicles compared to 57 in 2022. So we're kind of trending, unfortunately, in that same direction. Our vehicle burglaries, For year-to-date, we have 127. These are your unlocked cars where they rummage through, or maybe a smashed window and they grab a pocketbook. 127 for this year compared to 229 year-to-date last year. So those are down. And all our larcenies, which are all different types of larcenies, it's kind of the breakdown is in your packet. We're at 47 for the month of October compared to 27 from October of 23. For our investigative services division, again, if you refer to your reports, you can see a little bit more details on some of their cases. A few things to highlight are they had 8 stolen vehicles, 5 of which have been recovered. So detectives are, processing those recovered vehicles, trying to come up with leads to make some arrests. We also had 1 commercial burglary in town and 2 residential burglaries. And we continue to participate on the statewide violent crime task force, so we're out there as well with them. Some notable arrests for the Detective Bureau in October. We had 2 juveniles who were arrested for 2 separate purse snatchings that occurred on Universal Drive. They did arrest warrants for those youth, and they're working with juvenile detention to coordinate serving those arrest warrants on those kids. We also arrested a 73-year-old male for possession of child pornography on his computer. We arrested a 72-year-old male for illegal sexual contact with a minor. And we made a burglary arrest at an area hotel. As far as our personnel update, our testing for the sergeant exam has been completed and the top 3 have been ranked. We can get into that in executive session. Also in the month of December, we plan to swear in 3 officers, 2 entry-level officers who will go to the academy in first week of January, and 1 certified officer who will put on the road immediately. They'll get a brief 2 to 3 week field training, and then they'll be on their own working for the town of North Haven. And also, after our executive session, we'll have a new sergeant to promote in December as well.
So Deputy, we have a full complement of officers after we swear in these next couple of,
Correct.
right? And just for the public, how many is that gonna be, 60 total?
We'll be at 58.
58 plus you and the,
That's including us.
like 58,
Mhm.
so full staff?
We will be, yes. Even though 2 will be in the academy,
Yeah.
so we're full staff, but they're not in your neighborhood
Sure,
patrolling.
sure.
So
They're forthcoming,
they're forthcoming, so we're full on paper,
gotcha.
but from a manpower issue, that's 2 people that we can't use, because they'll be at the academy till July.
Correct. Okay, thank you.
And the last thing, as far as personnel, as I had mentioned, we brought on a new dispatcher. So they've started, and we're hoping that that goes well, and then they can begin to alleviate some of that dispatch overtime once they can work on their own. I have no request for the Benary Scholarship, and everything else that I have is for executive session.
One question,
Sure.
how was the bike patrol perceived during the summer thing? Because that's probably over now, obviously, right?
Yeah, I think it was well received. I think businesses like seeing the officers out there on their bikes. We're still doing it on the days where it's not too cold. It doesn't have to always be 75 and sunny to use the bike. So we're still out there, but it is going to start to wind down as the weather gets a little bit colder out. But we've gotten good feedback off it, even at concerts on the green
Right.
and events like that. We've gotten good feedback off the bike.
I've heard the same from the public also.
Yeah,
that they're
it's-
very pleased to see
They're
it.
more approachable. People will go up to them, talk to them,
Yeah.
will voice concerns. So it's been good. We're
Good.
looking forward to continuing it.
Perfect, good. Any questions or comments, anybody? Good down here? Okay, can I entertain a motion to adjourn to executive session for personnel?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Okay, we are back now in open session after having an executive session discussing the promotional aspect for sergeant. We have several candidates that were amazing, and after a period of discussion and comparisons, and we want to say thank you for all those that applied. Our decision is made. I'd like to make the motion that we promote Patrolman or Detective Mark Wedone to Sergeant. Do I have a second on that?
I'll second that.
Okay.
Paul.
Okay, Paul will do it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any further discussion? Okay. Thank you very much, and have a nice Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.
The preceding program is brought to you in part through a grant from the town of North Haven. Watch town meetings or other videos on demand at nhtv.com.